All right, everyone. Welcome back to the show. As I mentioned in the introduction, here with Steve Henneman. He is the Global Director of Sales over at TecTecTec, a fantastic golf technology company. We're going to talk a lot about one of their new products today. But before we get into that, Steve, it's so nice to finally get to meet you.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having me on, Adam. It's great to be here and obviously talk to your audience.
So a lot of people who listen to this show, your typical core golfers, they're golf nuts, just like you and I. And so they've probably heard of TecTecTec before. But before we get into the products today, why don't you let our listeners know a little bit about how you got started with the company?
Sure. So a bit of a long story. I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. But I started my golf industry career with STX. So STX made putters, and I don't know, somewhat of a similar path where STX had a lot of loyal followers, but wasn't mainstream. So we had, a lot of fans connecting with us on a daily basis. This is kind of before social media really took off when I was with STX. But when I was there, I had a designer on the team, John Berquist, who started with TecTecTec a few months before me. So I've only been here about 5 months now. John started, let's just say 7 months ago. And, they were looking for someone to help with sales and marketing really. And, that's what John and I did at STX. We built that brand kind of from the ground up. Things are a little bit more established here at TecTecTec when we both started here. But he's kind of the one that introduced me to the company and the owners of the company. It's a very small, company, family owned, family operated, two brothers from France. And, they both live overseas at the factory now. But basically, they got into the optics industry years ago and developed cameras. They're big surfers. So, they developed cameras to begin with, and then it kind of transitioned into getting into other optics, such as binoculars and rangefinders. So they kind of found their niche, found their sweet spot with golf rangefinders. And obviously that's to John and I's benefit to work with such a great small company and really help grow the golf business in particular.
That's one of the elements I wasn't immediately aware of, is that TecTecTec also does gear for hunting and other sports. Correct. As well. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And then that's a good product as well. But yeah, I would say we're focused mostly on golf now. That's, we only have so much time to give with a smaller, family company. So we're focused on golf when we really want to make an impact and really get out to the consumer. In previous years and when we started, so I don't think I mentioned, we started in 2014. Mm-hmm. We were the best-selling rangefinder on Amazon from 2016 to 2020. And now we're trying to get into the masses, into retailers, connect more on social media, that type of thing, build a following. So that's kind of where we are right now, trying to build that following and get more into mass retail.
Makes complete sense to me. And I've learned a little bit about the brand over the years. I actually have a really close friend who's been using a TecTecTec rangefinder for many years. And okay. I was like, I hadn't heard about that before. And so now that I've learned a little bit more, especially with the new product, which for our YouTube audience is the KLYR. It's a rangefinder that is, I will say, and it's been marketed this way, small. It fits right there in the palm of your hand. And there's a lot of versatility for that.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Compact is one of the big features, no pun intended, I guess, with being a big feature, but, we wanted something to be different. Obviously there are a lot of rangefinders out there. So sure. We needed to do something to separate ourselves from the masses. And, compact was kind of the first thing that came to mind. A lot of the bigger rangefinders are, a little bit clunky. They obviously perform very well, but they're a little clunky. So we wanted something smaller to go with everything else in our lives that's kind of gotten smaller. So you can, one of the main features that I'm sure we'll talk about is the wearability, and being compact allows you to wear it comfortably and not feel like you have a big, kind of side holster of a product. So, makes it more, comfortable, to wear.
Yeah, and the wearability is a really important feature that I'm glad you brought it up, because when I've used rangefinders in the past, I've tried wearing them, and you hit the nail on the head. They're big, they're clunky, they're not easy to, just grab right in a pinch. And then you see these other attempts to make them more accessible during a round of golf. You've got the magnets that you can put on, a side of a golf cart, for example. And so there's a lot of ideas that are going around. And I didn't know that a more compact unit was something that I really needed until I saw what you had produced with the KLYR. And so when you talk about wearability, you're speaking more of, and for the listeners watching on YouTube, there's a little belt loop here, a little fastener that you can actually use with a magnet. And so maybe speak a little bit more about the idea behind that.
Sure. Seemingly a pretty simple idea, but obviously we spend a lot of time in development, and it kind of came from our overseas market. We do a lot of business in Japan and Korea, and that market kind of brought it to us. For one reason or another, they tend to like to wear a lot of their items that they carry, such as a cell phone, where in different markets maybe people don't wear their cell phones so much anymore. But it's almost like a fashion thing. Like, hey, you have a great looking rangefinder. You're on a golf course, which is golf is somewhat of a showy sport. And if you have a nice looking rangefinder, why not show it off? And that's what we think. With our colors that we developed, and we'll have more to come. But with our colors that we developed, we wanted something to be a little bit flashy. So the yellow color KLYR is what has been really outperforming our forecast so far because it's a little bit more flashy, we think. But getting back to the wearability feature of it, we just think it's a really cool idea, especially from 100 yards and in. You and I were talking previously. When I'm on the golf course, you leave your cart on the side. Once you get into a certain range, you have to park your cart and get out. And you might have a chip or a short range shot approach shot to get to the green. At that point, it makes it very easy and convenient just to grab your rangefinder off your cart, because it's got a built-in magnet sticking on the pole there of the cart. Take it off that, slap it on your belt, and you can have it securely on you while you carry your wedge and your putter and hit your approach shot, go to the green. Your rangefinder's right there, so you don't have to throw it on the green and get fertilizer or water on it. It can stay on you and comfortably because it's so small. So it really is just it's a feature that we think people will adapt to it. Immediately, most people, like at the PGA show, it's like, hey, I'm not going to wear my rangefinder. But when you think about it, spend some time on the course and realize the convenience of pulling it off your cart, putting it on your belt, less likely you're going to lose it. It's got all the features that you want of any other rangefinder out there. So it's got everything you need, plus the wearability feature, which is unique to us. So we're excited about it, and we really are happy with the product.
It's funny you say that. You're talking to a man who has left his rangefinder at many a golf course. Yeah. And so if, just in the cup holder or in one of the cubbies in the golf cart, and you don't even think about it, but to have it right there with you at all times, I totally understand where you're coming from. And I'll be using it that way. And I know that my friends will be asking about it too. And so, the name KLYR, it's an interesting 4-letter take, acronym almost, I assume. Where did the name come from?
Really just, like spitballing between the four of us. Essentially on most development meetings, it's myself, John in R&D basically, and then the two owners. And we just throw things back and forth. And, we were just thinking, hey, the KLYR choice for a rangefinder. Obviously the optics thing, the optics of it are very clear in themselves, but we wanted to be the KLYR choice in an ocean of rangefinders available to the consumer. So we wanted to stick out, do something a little different, do something a little edgy, and we think it's the KLYR choice for everybody out there.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good spin on it. And, speaking about the features of the KLYR, and once again, folks watching on YouTube, it's really compact. I love it. It's pocket sized. As you go on to us.TecTecTec.com is the website. You can check it out for $200, which is a really good price point for something that has these many features. What are some of the things that our listeners and potential buyers would be looking for in this unit?
Well, the basics, slope on and off. So it has the button that you can turn it off and on for tournament legal play. It has the little, color indicator. It's a different color based on the different color rangefinders, but on the one you have in your hands right now, the black, you see the little yellow dot when the slope is on. It also has target lock vibration, so you know that you're hitting the target you're shooting for. We talked about the compactness of it, the wearability with the belt clip, and again, that belt clip comes with every rangefinder for free, no additional charge. And then all the magnetic capability. So, the rangefinder itself obviously has the built-in magnet, so you can put it on the cart. And what's also cool is on the case itself, you have that ball marker on the front that slides off. So it's kind of like, everything's magnetized. For one reason is that you're not going to lose all this stuff. So you have your ball marker, you have your belt clip, you have your rangefinder. You can actually stick your rangefinder on the outside of the case too, because it has that magnetic area. So you can use the carabiner on the back of the clip, put it on your golf bag or on the golf cart, and snap your rangefinder to it. So it has all those basic features: the slope, the target lock vibration, obviously the case. Has the ball marker on the case. It's compact. It's wearable. Kind of has all the bells and whistles. Scan mode is one I don't want to neglect to mention as well, because that's really cool that not everyone realizes it. I think honestly, before I got into the rangefinder game, I never really pressed the buttons on a rangefinder, and now you can switch between the different modes. And with scan mode, you can hit the button and scan from the hazard on the left to the pin to the bunker on the right. You can do all that in one scan and get all those readings, so you know exactly where you need to hit or miss. And those features are available to you, so you should use them if it's going to help your game. And we factored all those into this little package. So.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you've got a lot that go, like you put it perfectly, in this little package, and competing rangefinders cost much more than that. I mean, and so you've got something that's at a great price point. You've got everything that you could possibly need. I agree with you on the scan feature. I mean, if you want to see listeners how much it is to the front of the green, that's something that I always ask, people. And I was just thinking back to my most recent round. Believe it or not, I've actually had the chance to play golf this year, despite the Chicago weather out here. It was cart path only. And of course, I never hit the ball on the side of the cart path. And so I have to walk across the fairway. And I had my rangefinder with me, threw it down on the ground, hit my shot, started walking back, and of course, left my rangefinder in the middle of the fairway. And so, stuff like this where you don't even really think about it, it becomes second nature when you've got the features and you can use it over and over again, which are just some other things that I really enjoy about the KLYR Rangefinder here. So something I'd like to ask all my guests, especially when we're talking about a new product, I'm sure there's a lot of voice of customer feedback that go into the potential design. How does TecTecTec incorporate what customers say?
We go directly to the customers all the time. So we have a pretty extensive email list. So getting back to kind of how we started, we were the first rangefinder company to really go direct to consumer. And, that has built us or dug us a little bit of a hole to get in retail, because a lot of retailers don't want you to go direct to consumer. But most rangefinder companies are now. And since we were the first to do that, we have an extensive database of customers. And we email the customers on a regular basis. We send them surveys. We ask for their legitimate feedback. And the owner of the company, in addition to myself, or the owners of the company, look at every single survey response that we receive. They're often the ones that tell John and I, this guy said this guy wants to incorporate this girl wants to do this. Like it's very inclusive. And, that's kind of one of our mottos is, on course joy is a big one, and inclusivity. We want to include everyone's opinions in developing a product that we launch. And that's the best way to do it. If you want to, have loyal customers, you have to listen to them. And we use our email database the most to do that, to access them quickly, give them input that's actually going to be used in product development. So I think that's a cool deal to be part of, the TecTecTec team.